Safo is a person about whom a lot of bad questions are asked. Like, was she a prostitute? Was she two people? If she was two people, was one of them a prostitute? Did she die by throwing herself off a cliff for love of a young man? Did she bring shame on herself by seducing numbers of young girls? Did she also have love affairs with all the major poets of the Greek lyric tradition, from Archilochus to Anacreon, that is, gentlemen whose lifetime spans several centuries? Was she small in stature, dark in complexion, and ugly to look at? And so forth. Rather than document these bad questions, let's leave them aside and go on to some good questions. Like, who was she? What do her poems say? And how can we read them? Here's what I know about Safo on the level of fact. Safo was a musician. Her poetry is lyric, composed to be sung to the lyre. She addresses her lyre in one of her poems and frequently mentions music, songs, and singing. Ancient vase painters depict her with her instrument. Later writers ascribe to her three musical inventions: that of the plectron, an instrument for picking the lyre, that of the pectus, a particular kind of lyre, and the mixolydian mode, an emotional mode also used by tragic poets who learned it from Safo. All Safo's music is lost. Safo was also a poet. There's a 5th century vase painting in the National Museum of Athens that depicts her, identified by name, reading from a papyrus. This is an ideal image. Whether or not she herself was literate is unknown, but it seems likely that the words to her songs were written down during or soon after her lifetime and existed on papyrus rolls by the end of the 5th century BC. On a papyrus roll, the text is written in columns, without word division, punctuation, or lineation. To read such a text is difficult, even when it comes to us in its entirety, and most papyri don't. Of the 9 books of lyrics that Safo is said to have composed, 1 poem has survived complete. All the rest are fragments. Safo lived in the city of Mytilene on the island of Lesbos from about 630 BC. It is not known when she died. Her exile to Sicily, sometime between 604 and 595, is mentioned in an ancient inscription, but no reason for it is given. Biographical sources mention a mother, a father, a daughter, a husband, and 3 brothers of Safo. She appears to have devoted her life to composing songs. Scholars in Alexandria collected them in 9 books, of which the first book alone had 1,320 lines. Most of this is lost. Her face was engraved on the coinage of Mytilene, and Hellenistic poets called her the 10th Muse, or the Mortal Muse. Controversies about Safo's personal ethics and way of life have taken up a lot of people's time throughout the history of Sapphic scholarship. It seems that she knew and loved women as deeply as she did music. Safo is not the only poet whose extant work is fragmentary, whose biography is dubious, whose reputation controversial. But she does seem to exist as a pleasure for us, as much because of what is lacking from her as because of what is present. Every history of her contains so much that it does not contain. Every definition of her brings with it all the ghosts that refuse to play the game, ghosts of what the story might have been like from Safo's side. That's enough generalization about Safo. Let's move in closer and look at an example of her poetic method and mastery. Fragment 105a is all or part of a wedding song. It says, "As the sweet apple reddens on a top branch, on the top of the topmost branch, and the apple pickers forgot. No, not forgot, were unable to reach. These three verses may not strike you as especially epithalamic, but there are two reasons why people read them as a wedding song. First, the ancient grammarian Himerius tells us Safo compared the bride to an apple in one of her poems, but he doesn't say which poem. Secondly, in chapter 6 of George Eliot's novel Middlemarch, the character called Mrs. Cadwallader, hoping to arrange a marriage between an eligible bachelor and a nubile young woman, says, quote, "For he is not one of those gentlemen who languish after the unattainable Sappho's apple laughing from the topmost bough." And a marriage does eventually ensue between these two people. But if Fragment 105 is a wedding song, it is very discreet or possibly unfinished. It begins in a relative clause that never arrives at its main verb, and in a simile that does not reach its point of comparison. Not reaching, however, is the subject of the poem. In her description of the apple, Safo contrives to make it seem further and further away. Her first verse locates the apple on a top branch. Then this becomes on top of the topmost branch in the second verse. She explains why it is there, because the apple pickers forgot, then removes this reason and replaces it with another. No, not forgot, couldn't reach. The rhetorical name for this process, this kind of syntax, is correction in stride. Its effect is to involve your mind in the poem as a process of observation and reasoning, by withdrawing the object of contemplation even as you contemplate it. The poem ends in an infinitive, a form of a verb that by definition has no end, and which in this case describes some empty hands reaching perpetually out the end of the poem. Time is present in this poem, but it is time as a loop, for the reach of desire in the last word keeps returning you to the apple dangling in the first verse. You might say that this poem has the shape of one of the paradoxes of Zeno, those thought experiments where arrows fly but never reach their target, where runners run but never cross the finish line. There's a poem of Emily Dickinson's that captures the feeling. I'll give you the first stanza and the last stanza of it. I've always wondered if Emily Dickinson wrote this poem with Safo in mind. The first stanza says, "To disappear enhances, the man that runs away is tinctured for an instant with immortality." And then at the end, "The fruit perverse to plucking, but leaning to the sight, with the ecstatic limit of unobtained delight."
Ποικίλοφρον αθάνατα Αφρόδιτα, πεδίος δολόπλοκελίζομαι σε. Μη μάσασε, μην ονίασε δάμνα, πότμη Αθήνα. Λατή έλθ, επότα κατέρωτα, τα σε μας άβδα, έισα πύλη, έκλειες, πάτρις, δεδόμουν λύπησε, χρήσιον ήλθες. Αν παξεύσεις ακάλι δεσάγων, όκιες, τρούθη, περιγάς, μελένας, πύκνα δίνεντες, πτέρα ποράνω έθερος διαμέσου. Έψα, εξήκοντος είδω μάκερα, με δίαισες αθάνατη πρόσωπη, ηρεώτη δίφτε πεπονθακώτη, δίφτε κάλυμη. Κώτη μη μάλιστα θέλω γένεσθε, μένω λεθύμη. Τι να δίφτε πίθος άγινη εσαν φιλότατα, τι σοψάφθα δίκηση, και γάρε φεύγει ταχαίως διώξει, έδε δώρα μη δέκεται αλλά δώσει, έδε μη φίλη ταχαίως φιλήσει, κουκαθέλησα. Έλθε μη και νη, χαλέπα δελίσσον, εκμέριμναν, όσα δεν ητέλεσε θύμος, ημέρη τέλεσον δις αυτά σύμμαχον έσου.
Deathless Aphrodite of the spangled mind, child of Zeus, who twist lures, I beg you, do not break with hard pains, O lady my heart, but come here if ever before you caught my voice far off, and listening left your father's golden house and came, yoking your car, and fine birds brought you, quick sparrows over the black earth, whipping their wings down the sky through mid-air they arrived. But you, O Blessed One, smiled in your deathless face, and asked what now again I have suffered, and why now again I am calling out, and what I want to happen most of all in my crazy heart. Whom should I persuade you now again to lead you back into her love? Who, O Safo, is wronging you? For if she flees, soon she will pursue. If she refuses gifts, rather will she give them. If she does not love, soon she will love, even unwilling. Come to me now, loose me from hard care, and all my heart longs to accomplish. You be my ally.
Inmortal Afrodita, de mente engalanada, hija de Zeus, trenzadora de encantos, te lo ruego, no quiebres con ardos tormentos, oh señora, mi corazón. Mejor vení, si es que ya alguna vez percibiste mi voz desde lejos, y al oírla, dejaste la dorada casa de tu padre y viniste, tras uncir tu carruaje, y unas aves hermosas te trajeron. Rápidos gorriones sobre la negra tierra bajaron desde el cielo, agitando las alas por el medio del aire, y llegaron. Pero vos, oh dichosa, sonreíste con tu rostro inmortal y me preguntaste qué me ocurría esta vez y por qué esta vez te estoy llamando y qué es lo que más quiero que suceda en mi corazón loco. ¿A quién debo convencer esta vez de que vuelva a guiarte hasta su amor? ¿Quién, oh Safo, te agravia? Porque si ella te evita, pronto va a perseguirte. Si no acepta regalos, en cambio los hará. Si no ama, amará pronto, aunque no quiera. Ahora vení conmigo, librame del arduo desvelo y todo lo que mi corazón desea lograr, logralo. Vos, sé mi aliada. Trabajo, cara, si no el invierno, sin dolor. Te ordeno que cantes sobre Mongila, sobre Avantis. Levanta tu lira, porque esta vez el anhelo flota a tu alrededor, hermosa. Porque su vestido, cuando lo viste, te enardeció. Y yo me regocijo. De hecho, ella misma me culpó una vez, Afrodita, por haber rezado esta palabra. Quiero.
I simply want to be dead. Weeping, she left me with many tears and said this, "Oh, how badly things have turned out for us. Safo, I swear against my will I leave you." And I answered her, "Rejoice, go and remember me, for you know how we cherished you. But if not, I want to remind you. And beautiful times we had, or many crowns of violets and roses. At my side you put on, and many woven garlands made of flowers around your soft throat. And with sweet oil, costly, you anointed yourself. And on a soft bed, delicate, you would let loose your longing. And neither any, nor any holy place, nor was there from which we were absent. No grove, no dance, no sound." Thought, barefoot.
Vivimos. Lo opuesto. Audacia. Con voz débil.
In a thin voice.
Λεπτοφόνο.
Algunos dicen que un ejército a caballo, y algunos dicen que un ejército a pie, y algunos dicen que un ejército naval es lo más hermoso que hay sobre la negra tierra. Pero yo digo que es lo que amás. Fácil hacer que cualquiera lo entienda, ya que a quien a todo superó en belleza, Helena, dejó a su excelente marido y navegó hacia Troya. Ni en sus hijos ni en sus queridos padres se detuvo a pensar. No. La llevó por el mal camino. Levemente. Me hizo pensar en el Actoria, que se fue. Preferiría ver su hermoso andar y el movimiento de la luz sobre su cara que ver carros de lirios o tropas de guerreros armados. No puede suceder. Rezar por una parte. Hacia. De entre lo inesperado.
Με έναν δύνατο γένεστε, νάνδρο, εδέχειν δάραστε. Προς. Ταξιδοκείτο.
Deep sound.
Sonido profundo.
Βάθηδο.
Robes, necklaces, for Gorgo, for Girino.
Túnicas, collares, para Gorgo, para Girino.
Έπλα, όρμες, δεγόργοι, γύρινοι.
I have of girls.
Yo tengo de las chicas.
Αλίαν έχω, Παρθένον. Και ποθείο και μάουμε.
En mi goteante dolor, al acusador, que vientos y terrores se lo lleven. Me quemás.
You burn me
Tanto tiempo como vos quieras.
as long as you want to.
Y yo, sobre una almohada blanda, recostaré mis piernas y mis brazos.
And I on a soft pillow will lay down my limbs.
Eros sacudió mi mente como un viento de montaña que cae sobre los robles.
Eros shook my mind like a mountain wind falling on oak trees.
Eros δετείναξε mis φρένας, ως άνεμος κατόρους θρήσιν εμπέτων.
Viniste y estaba loca por vos, y refrescaste mi mente, que ardía de anhelo.
You came and I was crazy for you, and you cooled my mind that burned with longing.
Ήλθες εγώ δε σε με όμαν, όν δε ψάξας έμαν φρένα και ομέναν πόθη.
No sé muy bien qué hacer. Dos ánimos en mí.
I don't know what to do. Two states of mind in me.
Ουκ είδω τη Θεού δύο μη τα νοήματα.
Of the muses, makes and of the graces, with slender, for mortals there is a share. I loved you, Aethys, once long ago, a little child you seemed to me and graceless. Their heart grew cold, they let their wings down. Neither for me honey nor the honeybee.
Huyendo, mordida. Vos. Se abre camino con la boca. Hermosos regalos. Niños. Lira deleita canciones de sonido claro. Toda mi piel, ya vejez. Pelo vuelto blanco tras el negro. Rodillas nos sostienen, como cervatillos. ¿Pero qué podría ser? No es posible volverme. Aurora de brazos dorados, llevando hasta los bordes de la tierra. Sin embargo, tomado, esposa, imagina, podría conferir. Pero yo amo la delicadeza, y esto para mí, el esplendor y la belleza del sol, ha asignado el deseo.
Not one girl, I think, who looks on the light of the sun will ever have wisdom like this.
Ninguna chica, creo, que mire la luz del sol tendrá jamás una sabiduría como esta.
Loves, new,
Φίλοι, κεν.
they became for naught.
Έγεντ. Ούγαρκ.
Sinful,
Pecaminosa,
Αλήτρα.
outstanding as the lesbian singer compared to those elsewhere.
sobresaliente como la cantante de Lesbos comparada con las de otros lugares.
I will go for of harmonia, dance, clear sounding, to all.
Έστω. Άμα. Αστε.
Goat herd, roses,
Pastor de cabras, rosas,
longing, sweat,
anhelo, sudor.
Sardis, often turning her thoughts here. You like a goddess, and in your song most of all she rejoiced. But now she is conspicuous among Lydian women as sometimes at sunset the rosy-fingered moon surpasses all the stars, and her light stretches over salt sea
Exhala del mar
and flower-deep
y los
fields.
hondos campos de flores.
And the beautiful dew is poured out, and roses bloom, and fragrant tree and flowering
Y el
sweetly.
trébol de olor.
But she goes back and forth, remembering gentle Aethys, and in longing she bites her tender vine. But to go there,
Pero ir allá,
much,
mucho,
talks,
habla.
not easy for us to equal goddesses in lovely form.
No es fácil para nosotras igualar a las diosas.
And Aphrodite,
Afrodita,
nectar poured from gold, with hands
en las manos
persuasion,
persuasión,
into the
dentro del templo de
Garaistion,
Poseidón,
beloveds of none,
amadas de nadie,
into desire I shall come.
al deseo ingresaré.
Do I still yearn for my virginity?
Ηρέτη Παρθενίας επιβάλλομαι,
O beautiful, O graceful,
ο κάλα, ο χέλιες κόρα.
virginity, virginity, where are you gone, leaving me behind? No longer will I come to you, no longer will I come.
Παρθενία, Παρθενία, τι με λείπεις απήχη, ουκέ τι ήξω προσέ, ουκέ τι ήξω.
Cloth dripping,
Εμιτίβιον στάλασσον.
but I am not someone who likes to wound, rather I have a quiet mind. But if you love us, choose a younger bed, for I cannot bear to live with you when I am the older one. May you sleep on the breast of your delicate friend, but me you have forgotten. You love some man more than me.
Τι είναι οφθάλμηση?
Eros, el fundidor de brazos y piernas, esta vez me agita. Criatura inmanejable y luz amarga que se cuela.
I want to say something, but shame prevents me. Yet if you had a desire for good or beautiful things, and your tongue were not concocting some evil to say, shame would not hold down your eyes, rather you would speak about what is just.
Στάθηκαν τα φίλους και ταν επώσεις, ο μπέτασον χάρη.
El delicado Adonis se muere, Afrodita. ¿Qué debemos hacer? Azótense, doncellas, y rásguense las vestiduras.
Καθνάσκη, κυθέρι, αύρος Άδωνης, τι κεθήμεν. Κατήψεστε, κόρη και κατερίκεστε χείτονας.
And on the eyes, black sleep of night.
Οφθάλμης δεμέλες νύκτος άωρος.
Mezclados con todas clases de colores.
Παντοδάπεση με μειχμένα χρήση.
Chica de voz dulce.
Πάρθενον αδίφωνον.
Ahora, estas cosas para mis compañeras. Voy a cantar hermosamente.
Τα δεν είναι τέρες, τες έμας τέρπνα κάλους αΐου. Μη κυνηγέρεδος, το μέλημα τόμων.
one will remember us, I say, even in another time.
Lo que duele,
Pain giver,
Αργεσίδωρος.
a vine that grows up trees.
una parra que crece trepando en los árboles.
Άμα.
Dawn,
Amanecer,
Άμα.
lyre, lyre, lyre.
lira, lira, lira.
Βαρβίτος, βάρονος, βάρονος.
Transparent dress,
Vestido transparente,
Βέβαιος.
makeup bag,
estuche de maquillaje,
Ρήτα.
holder,
sostén,
Έκτορ.
crossable.
franqueable.
I
Σάββατο.
might go.
Tal vez vaya
Down rushing,
en picada,
Κατόρις, κατάρις.
danger.
peligro,
Κίνδυνο.
Honey voiced,
voz dulce,
Μελίφωνος.
Medea
Medea,
Μύδια.
of the muses.
de las musas,
Myth weaver,
trenzadora de mitos,
Νήτρο.
soda,
bicarbonato,
Πολυϊδρίδη.
many skilled.
multitalentosa,
Πολυϊδρίδη.
Celery,
apio,
Σελίνα.
gold ankle bone cups.
tobilleras de oro,
Χρυσαστράγαλη φιέλη.